I think obviously one of the questions that Orwell asks us in 1984 is, to what extent are we complicit in the taking away of our own freedoms as individuals in a society? To what extent do we basically sign up for a program that is going to diminish our ability to live and think and act independently? Orthodoxy in 1984 is unconsciousness, and Orwell was really interested in the process of independent thought, of cognition, and that's what fascinates me about the novel. Because if anything is my goal in the English class, it's to train people to think critically, to be able to question their own biases, right? We all have to be able to recognize and question our own biases and really lay those out just as much as we're going to lay out other ideologies that we disagree with, other trains of thinking, and understand how we think. How is it that we come to believe certain things and disagree with other things? Orwell wanted us to be in the driver's seat cognitively and not to be manipulated by a government, by a system of power. And that's where I feel like I can teach students that, look, you can think whatever you want, right? As long as you're thinking on your own, critically, clearly, as long as you're aware of the decisions that you're making for why you believe what you believe. And also for us to debate it. I believe that the classroom is a rhetorical space where we allow all points of view to come in and interact and argue, and that the stronger points of view will oftentimes withstand scrutiny of let's take a look at these ideas. And Orwell, to me, was a master of that. He understood that independent thought, the act of independent thought, was under attack, and it was the most holy and sacred thing about humans. And if we go back to Genesis and do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? It's a trope at the beginnings of human nature. It's like, what is the power of being human? It's to think independently. Adam and Eve went against the power, the ultimate power, and somehow that's in our DNA, right? And I'm speaking, of course, literarily here, but I think we're talking about the tradition of Western literature, and enshrined in that tradition is using language and literature as a tool for liberty, for thinking differently, for questioning the power in the status quo. That is part of our tradition in the English language. And so teaching Orwell is absolutely necessary for me.